I've got another breaking chess story here that's gonna blow your mind. You'll be calling your loved ones. It was tonight, August the 25th. Hans Niemann's at the board. I turn on Titled Tuesday. He's storming the tournament. 6 out of 6. He runs into Andrei Esipenko in this game. And then the game happens, we're about to see what happens, and Niemann goes on some kind of weird quit thing. Is it a rage quit? Was it just an unhappy quit? I'm not sure. I need to show you this game, then the two that followed, which were very, very strange. Let's first take a look at this. Andrei Esipenko, another blitz beast. He opens with the Queen's Pawn. This is online chess, titillating Tuesday. It's a Nimzo Indian invitation, but dodged by Andrei. He doesn't want it here. They get 5 minutes each, of course, no increment. Niemann now plays the Queen's Indian. No d5 in this game. This is a bit of a rare bird at the highest level. Not as rare as this bird, of course, the lesser known Fabi bird. Here's another bird just for good measure. I'm here all night, I promise. Niemann now plays after this weird a3 move, stopping bishop b4, bishop b7. Classic, tucking in. Sometimes they hyperfianchetto. Not today. Knight c3 now, and no pin business. And d6. A horrible positional move, because normally you want to trade this bishop for the knight, then set up these kind of structures or play for e5. But here Niemann's happy having the bad bishop. White's also got a slight issue with this one, and he now immediately strikes at the center, the heart of the position. Andrei takes the center with the trio of pawns, erects that big white center, the seahorse springing into the game, and therefore the pawn thrusts on. This knight heads forward. You don't have to take it, even though it's majorly annoying. You know, you could check and then drop back, or drop back immediately, just cover the knight on f3, but takes is played. Allows pawn recaptures, discombobulates this one. What does Niemann do? Well, obviously, with King Kong's finger just dangling there on f4, he clogs the toilet. We've now got a classic case of dark squared grip versus light squared grip. Fascinating battle. Knight g3 is natural to open the bishop. Look at f5. g6 plugs the hole here. Bishop d3. It's a big pawn. It's crying. At some point you want c5 if possible. And Niemann starts with h5. It's a classic positional idea, as we're going to see. After h3, you shouldn't actually go through with it. Best is this kind of thing. Now you're fighting for the c5 square. Let me show you a quick sample variation of how black could play. This bishop's actually a good defensive piece. You improve the knight, secure the outpost, castle the king. The game's roughly level here. Anyone's business, anyone's fight. But in the game, we saw bishop h6. Now it makes a ton of sense. You're exchanging your so-called bad bishop, staring at its own pawn chain. But you now ruin your castling rights, and you lose a ton of time here. Castles and bishop c8, trying to improve that one that was biting on granite. Meantime, Andrei's castled, getting f4 in, roaring like an absolute boss. He's in the driving seat. It's move 17. Opening's gone wrong. Obviously, if you want your openings to go right, use Lotus Chess. I bang on about it. It's fantastic. Links below. They just passed 600k downloads, active users. Wow, what an app it is. You can start for free down below. Literally pick an opening and you just get going. Learn it right from scratch like you're playing a game. And it does end games. How incredible is that? Check it out below. Now, if you try and take here, there's a big problem. And it's queen takes. And you've just got this huge issue with the knight. And if you move the knight, the pawn collapses. This is why the bishop was actually quite a necessary defensive piece. Why this guy should have really been rotating. So because you can't take, Niemann goes h4. Kicks back the knight, then goes knight h5. Really logical, but it does allow takes, pawn recaptures, and before you can say
Mushrooms.
Andre's gaining space on the queen side, or the left side as they like to say on the modern chess broadcasts here. And this is the problem. With the change of structure, these pawns are rumbling. It's a seriously dangerous cocktail. Delicious if you're on the white side of it. How does Niemann fight back? Well, I do love this about Hans. What does he find in this position? Pawn g5, launching Gary the debt collector down the board, banging down some doors. The rent's due, Andre. c5 in response here, and now the knight hops to f4. You can see, of course, the menace of the pawns now. You could already play pawn to c6. You could just save the bishop. Not that black really wants to take when this is such a great piece. Rook ac1 was selected though. Rook h6, obviously bro. Niemann loves a rook lift. Look at him. Guns for days. He's in incredible shape. You'd never guess it, but he really is. Can flex those biceps like there's no tomorrow. The bishop saves itself here. a5 fights against the structure, but Andre's never taking. He wants to keep the pawns intact, and he plays the absolutely overpowered pawn d6, sets up an epic connect 4 and wins himself a staring contest with Danny Wrench, but with a twist that you've got to try not to laugh. It's not easy, defeated many chess professionals, the perfectly groomed moustache, the eyebrows, the huge green pawn head. Honestly, it's difficult not to crack a smile. Andre came out second best. We see king f8 going for safety. Bishop d5 hits the rook, and you should actually take. You don't really want to give up this amazing knight. Open the f file again. Give white an extra clump of pawns here, but it's just the best move. Because when you play this, as was played in the game, there's now a killer tactical shot. Can you see the way to proceed here? It's with the march of the foot soldiers. Pawn to c ships on the board. You could have also taken first, then marched the pawn. And the big point is, you want to take here. It's what Niemann does, but now there's c7 on the board. And you hit the rook, and it just doesn't have a square. If you come here, you get eaten by a bishop. If you come here, well then takes. This is analysis mode. Didn't happen. You push the pawn through. It's a girl. Now we see check. King goes. And when all the smoke clears, you're just a clean rook up for like what? A pawn or two. Clearly not enough material to compensate. So, this is the problem. Niemann tries bishop a6 desperation. Double whammies this one here. In response, takes with check. Queen recaptures. Now knight takes on f4. You'd love to gobble the rook, but this is an equally monstrous knight. So takes was played. Opens a line to the king. First, this rook is saved from the attack. Queen d8, moving into the danger zone, but cool and calm comes from Andre. Rook c6, trading off that active black rook. A dangerous attacking piece. What to do? Takes is the best move. This is how the game goes, but every liquidation just helps Andrei Esipenko. We see queen c1 hitting the bishop. It moves into e2. Check. Now the king goes. Rook saving itself. d3, d2, d1, a scary threat. Red carpet rolled out. So that's why bishop a4. You could have actually munched first and allowed it, and then gone bishop a4. Ultimately, white's prepared to give the bishop for the pawn and still be winning. This was played by Niemann instead. Queen c1 stops f3 because you hang your queen. Now we see queen g3 renewing the threat of f3, but who cares? Bishop d1 on the board. f3, queen d2, calling Niemann's bluff. Take, sure, big whoop-dee. I've got my rook in the vicinity. I'm in fact going to recapture and win your queen, and you can't do this or this. All under control. Queen g6 is desperation, and after takes on f3 with the rook. Lovely, just simplification of the position. Trying to find the word. Queen d6, a4. Hans Niemann lets his time run down and loses the game in a dead lost position. But this is where it gets weird. He was still on 6 out of 7, well in the running for winning the tournament, but turns up for the next game, and this is how it went. e4, and then it goes to 0, which really confuses me. e5, 4 minutes and 9 for Dmitry Andreikin. And then the game ends with a win for Dmitry. And then another game proceeds. Knight f3, 100% accuracy there from Gleb Dudin. He wins that game too. Niemann resigns, I guess, or lets the clock run out. I guess he resigns. Very strange. Quits the tournament, doesn't finish it. Don't know why. Maybe someone caught the stream. We can then solve this mystery together. Thanks very much for watching. Do have a look at the video on screen in case you missed the epic battle between Hans and Hikaru a couple of weeks ago. Also check out Lotus Chess. It's fantastic, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.